Well, it is time for our weekly Crossfire segment, all things politics in Oklahoma. And joining us from the left is Senate Minority Leader Julia Curd. Good morning, Senator.
Morning. You'll enjoy that I'm actually in California for a conference, so you all can make whatever jokes you want about that.
It's too easy, Senator. Come on. And joining us on the right side, we have Speaker Pro Tem of the Oklahoma House of Representatives, Anthony Moore. Good morning, Anthony.
It's always good to be right, isn't it, Tom?
Oh my goodness! So
and Senator Kurt. I mean, kudos. 5 a.m. on the West Coast time, right? So, oof.
Right. Well, I figured I don't need to change my my time zone mentally. I'm only here a couple days, but I am having a great break from the weather. It is 57 degrees outside this morning.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous about the weather out there. So, how's Gavin doing? Have you spent some time with him lately?
I'm here with people from all over the country, so I'm hearing a lot more about Arkansas and Kentucky and Wyoming than anything California.
So no Eric Swalwell or anything like that?
None of these people who I don't even know who you're talking about apparently are the celebrities of Fox News. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. No, well, we do really appreciate you waking up early to join us. Of course, Crossfire made possible by our friends at Lucille's Roadhouse and ASAP Energy. Of course, I want to really spend the time, if you guys are up for it, to kind of break down some of the other races on the primary runoff, which is coming up on August 25th. We've talked a lot about the governor's race, even state superintendent of public schools, but there are other races on the ballot that people will be voting, few more on the Republican side, and one of those is for Commissioner of Labor on the Republican side, and we have, I believe, a couple of members of the Oklahoma House, Kevin West and John Pfeiffer, running, or is it Pfeiffer? Is it Pfeiffer, Anthony?
Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Pfeiffer.
Okay, so not related to Michelle Pfeiffer, evidently, the actress, since they pronounce it. So, Anthony, since they are on the Republican side, tell us about each of these guys, and who do you think is going to win this?
Well, listen, both good guys, both good members, different perspectives and outlooks. I endorse John Pfeiffer in this deal. John was a member of House leadership for 10 of his 12 years, former Marine. Just a stalwart in the House, deputy floor leader for the last, 10 years. And so he's been fantastic to work with, and just a good friend too. He was in Weatherford this week, at the Rotary and talking to the, Custer County Republican women. He's put in a ton of work and I think that, he's got a good shot. I think he's also a farmer rancher and understands a little bit more about rural Oklahoma. Kevin is a former contractor, lives in Moore. Very, very good guy, though. He and his wife, Goldie, are both very, very, very kind people and good folks. I don't think that, I don't think that either one of them would do a bad job. John's a really good friend and proud to endorse him, and I hope he pulls it off. It's one of those races where, quite frankly, people are like, what is this again? What does this do?
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be my next question. Senator Kurt, what really does the Commissioner of Labor do? I mean, we're kind of past the old days of we still have unions, but it's not like it was back in the day. What does the Commissioner of Labor do?
They do have a responsibility around if you're not paid on the job, if you think if you have an employer that stiffs you, that kind of stuff, Labor Commissioner does help with that. But otherwise, Labor Commissioner has kind of gotten various responsibilities thrown on them over the years. So they do like safety at state fairs. They do, they keep track of the certificates for the elevators. I mean, there's a lot of practical stuff about workplace safety that they take care of. And I mean, to me, I would look at those guys' track record on legislation and see who's really willing to do that work, because it's not a glamorous position, so you need somebody who's not in it for the PR. And frankly, if you look back at Representative Kevin West, you're going to see a whole lot of bills that have gone to the Supreme Court as potentially unconstitutional. You're going to see a whole lot of news making on purpose. And I just, if that's what you want in somebody who's overseeing our safety, that's what you'll get. That's my opinion.
Is there a Democratic candidate for the general election?
Oh yeah, he's great. He's great. His name is Kevin. He's also Kevin. Isn't that funny? He's from Norman. Dawson's his last name. He's former railroad worker, so he's really definitely fits the bill for the position. He was a union railroad worker. Drove railroads for I think 30, 40 years, and real committed to looking out for workers. So yeah, he'll be on the ballot in November.
All the live long day working on the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's awesome.
It really is funny. Like, I'm trying to just know what to talk to him about, because I'm like, is it stereotypes or?
Well, I'm still mad that Orange University down in Texas stole that song. Tried to make it the Eyes of Texas instead of I've been working on the railroad. But that's another story for another day. All right, how about
because they're unoriginal, Todd. They can't come up with their own work.
That's right. Amen. Tell my wife that every day. She's one of them. Oh, my goodness.
Man, I didn't know that.
Well, let's talk about insurance commissioner, okay? And Anthony, once again, there's a runoff on the Republican side. So you've got Bob Sullivan, Marty Quinn. We're starting to see a few TV ads even in this race, which I didn't necessarily think we were. And you kind of mentioned last week, but I guess I was confused by who you were actually supporting.
Well, yeah, I was trying to kind of decide whether or not I was just going to say it out loud or not, and trying to let people do their own stuff. But I, Marty Quinn, Senator Kirk, can talk to you a little bit about, her history with him in the Senate. But he's a very nice guy, again, from the Claremore area up that way. I think Senator Ali Seifert took his spot a couple years ago, or 4 years ago. So I had a couple years with him. Again, very nice guy, but 40 years in the insurance industry, and I'm tired of having someone in that role that won't hold them accountable. I mean, the reality is we pay double the insurance of our friends to the east in Arkansas, and if we have claims, we get half the recovery of the same state. So we're paying double and receiving half. That seems like a really terrible deal. Our current insurance commissioner has done a terrible job. Actually hasn't done a job at all, really, of holding those accountable. He's only lining their pockets more. And so I want someone who's not deep in the pocket. And so 40 years, I don't trust that he's not right there with all of them. I'm going to be voting for the other guy, which is Bob Sullivan. I met Bob. I went to Bob's fundraiser in Tulsa several months ago. He's a phenomenal guy.
But he's also from the industry too, though, right? How does he differ from Quinn?
Yeah, he's been in the industry for a little less than 2 decades, but he's really in this for making a difference for us. And having talked to him, having heard his plan, he's not going up there to be buddies with all the CEOs of all the big insurance companies and right off into the sunset in retirement. He's in the prime money making decades of his life, and he's choosing to go make a difference. And that's the difference for me. Is he's not doing this kind of to stay on the government dime. He's doing this to make a difference and then go back to his family. And that's really something that was important to me. And I was really enjoyed getting to meet him and his family, and he's definitely got my full-throated support.
Is he a junior? It seems like I've heard that name, Bob Sullivan, before. Does he have a dad that's been in politics, or am I just getting that confused with something?
No, I think that there was like a county commissioner or court clerk or something. There was a Sullivan in Oklahoma County, but it's no relation to him.
Gotcha. Senator Kurt, so you served with Marty Quinn at one point?
Yeah, I did. He was actually insurance chair when I was my first term, and I would say pretty not real willing to hear bills to protect consumers. My colleague Senator Hicks pushed him hard on diabetes care, and he definitely had his ear attuned to insurance companies. I really don't know Bob Sullivan. I'm super impressed with Craig McIntyre, who's the Democrat running. He's somebody who retired from the industry because he was so disturbed by the practices and understands the calculations and, did a lot on the behind the scenes. So he understands the financial decisions that the insurance companies are making. I think, hearing the pro tem saying those things about insurance just has me beaming because it's something I've been working on for a couple of years. And I think at the beginning, we had a whole lot of folks that wanted to say, oh, no, it's just the weather that has our pricing differently, has our prices worse. So I'm really pleased that that word has spread and that we know that we need an insurance commissioner that's going to protect us. There's a huge distraction that they want to bring up, which is lawsuits and tort reform. And I got to say, I've looked at all the states that have done that, and it's not gone well. You have people who aren't able to seek justice when they're treated unfairly by their insurance company. And I think it's a real distraction. When I did an interim study last summer, they said very clearly, and this is the industry themselves, they said that lawsuits were not causing a huge cost increase. So I think we just can't let those ask the hard questions, because we can't let those kinds of ideas distract us from the core message of protecting people and actually working to get our rates down.
And McIntyre has a little more name recognition. Would he be a Democrat that has a decent shot in the general election, do you think?
Well, I mean, we got to be real that statewide races are hard. I think a lot of people have perceptions of Democrats that comes from national Democrats, and so we're fighting that all the time. I think no matter how practical or how moderate or how reasonable someone is with their experience, I think there's a brand there that's hard to fight. But he's doing the work. Craig McIntyre's from Tecumseh, so he's a small town guy. He's heading all over the state, and I think anyone who hears him speak is going to vote for him, because he actually was, I would call him with questions about bills, because he's so thoughtful and well-rounded. He knows that we need that industry. We need people to be insured. It is very tough on the community if we have a bunch of uninsured folks, because they can't recover from a disaster. It's real challenging. So we need the industry to do well. We just don't need it to be making excessive profits on our people. And I think that's the balance that Craig would strike.
Okay. Good conversation here. Now, there is one runoff on the Democratic side, and that's for U.S. Senator. This is Markwayne Mullins' former seat. Of course, we have a placeholder right now, but you've got Kevin Hern on the Republican side. But on the Democratic side, you've got Jim Priest, a name that we remember. He's run for office many, many times. And then kind of a newcomer, right? Nikayla Jasmine Thomas. We'll start with you, Senator Kurt. Tell us about both of these candidates.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup, because Jim Priest is a, kind of elder statesman type. He's been running nonprofit organizations as an attorney, has a strong background in community leadership. He definitely falls into the, known quantity category with a whole lot of folks. Jasmine Thomas is really just an upstart who, when she kind of broke on the scene, I admit that I didn't expect her to have the lasting power she's had, in terms of she's very resilient, very persistent in trying to reach people. She doesn't have a big background in community leadership, but I think her big emphasis is that we need regular people in elected office. And so she does a good job of speaking as a mom. She's a military spouse. She talks a lot about our daily experiences that are challenging. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. She's a lot younger, and I would say more progressive. So, this is kind of the debate that's happening, of course, in any party, is around, which part of the coalition is going to step forward.
Anthony, have you paid any attention to the Democratic nomination for senator? I want to say I read something about Thomas may not even be from Oklahoma, like she's serving in another state. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Anthony?
I can honestly tell you that I just heard her name for the first time. I knew Jim Priest had an opponent. I've known Jim for 25 or more years. He's actually a very close friend of our family. My aunt was his personal paralegal for 2 decades. He's a phenomenal guy. I'm not going to vote for him in November. He knows that, but he's done a really good job of campaigning. But I really did not know who his opponent's name was. I could not have. If you asked me the $66,000 question, I couldn't have hit it. So that's the first I've heard of it. And to go back, Todd, to the question I didn't get to answer real quick too.
Yeah.
No, none of those people have a chance to win in November. But here's the reality. I think that's why it's more important for the Republicans to get out and vote in this runoff, because if Mike Mazie were to win, it will change November. There is a large portion that, then it will become, do the Republicans not want to go vote at all because they don't want to vote for Mazie, or do they flip and vote for, longtime friend of the show, Cindy Munson? And that I've heard a lot of even elected officials say, listen, I'll vote for Munson over Mazie. And so it's very interesting to me to see what happens. If it were to be Mike Mazie, I think that changes things in November. Does it change it enough? Probably not. Not even for down ballot, especially down ballot. I think Mr. McIntyre, I've heard nothing but great things about him. I don't know him personally. I think he would do I think he's got the ability as well to do a good job in that role. But I don't see, a down ballot statewide winning without just significant name ID and significant resources.
It'll be interesting. And Senator Kurt, I want you to break down the Weatherford City Commissioner races, Ward 1 and Ward 3, quickly. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
I'd love to. I will say on local races, I just hope people are asking important questions. Let's not solely focus on data centers or something. Let's ask about how they're going to make government more transparent and accountable, because that's what we need.
Amen to that. We are talking with State Senator Julia Kurt, State Representative Anthony Moore. We're in the Crossfire. It's made possible by ASAP General Stores and Lucille's Roadhouse. Back with more after this.
Listen to farmers and ranchers talk about Gentner Drummond.
This is Megan Langley, poultry farmer and owner of Egg Drop Farm, with a warning about Gentner Drummond. Gentner Drummond tried to put my poultry farm out of business when he sued farmers and ranchers. Then he cut a bogus settlement to enrich his trial lawyer buddies. You just can't trust him.
This is Kenzie Pepper, a proud Oklahoma rancher. The Cattlemen's Association understood that Gentner Drummond is a liar. He sues farmers and ranchers. That's why the Cattlemen's Association pulled their endorsement of him. If Gentner Drummond sues farmers and ranchers, your farm, your ranch, and your livelihood could be next.
The clear choice, Republican Mike Mazie, endorsed by President Trump, a strong supporter of Oklahoma farmers and ranchers. Mike Mazie for governor. Authorized and paid for by Mazie for Governor 2026.
State Representative Anthony Moore.
Rick Cook tells it like it is, and he doesn't back down. He's tough. He's direct. Rick doesn't care about political gains. He cares about getting results and standing up for our values. I need Rick fighting right along beside me in the Oklahoma legislature.
The choice is clear. On Tuesday, August 25th, make your voice heard. Get to the polls. Vote conservative businessman Rick Cook for State Senate. Tuesday, August 25th, vote Rick Cook. Authorized and paid for by Friends of Rick Cook 2026.
When it comes to Ouachita County, experience matters. Bart Gosen was born and raised right here in Ouachita County and has spent the last 22 years serving our communities. Bart has worked to improve county roads and bridges, support local communities, and stand behind our volunteer fire departments when they need it most. On Election Day, vote for proven leadership and experience you can trust. Re-elect Bart Gosen for Ouachita County Commissioner, District 1.
Paid for by Bart Gosen for Ouachita County District 1 Commissioner.
Looking for quality appliances and furniture? Kluver's Appliances and Home Furnishings in Clinton has got you covered. They now offer financing through 3 trusted banks: Synchrony, American First Finance, and Fortiva. No credit, low credit, no problem. They're here to help you get what you need. Visit them today and follow and like Kluver's Appliances and Home Furnishings on Facebook and Instagram for the latest updates and deals. Kluver's of Clinton. Prices you like and quality you deserve.
Welcome back to the legendary hospitality of Lucille's. Lucille Hammonds was a legendary host to travelers along the famous Route 66 highway for her hospitality, fine dining, pristine accommodations, and a strong devotion toward Route 66. Experience that legacy at Lucille's Hotel and Lucille's Restaurant in Weatherford and Lucille's Restaurant in Clinton. Check out hotel rooms, menus, and explore Lucille's history at lucilleshotel.com and at lucillesroadhouse.com.
Welcome back to Crossfire, brought to you by ASAP General Stores and Lucille's Roadhouse. We're in the Crossfire today with State Senator Julia Kurt and State Representative Anthony Moore. We've kind of been breaking down the primary runoff election, which is coming up on Tuesday. Anthony, we'll start with you this time. You wanted to kind of get everybody to have their prediction on how many people are going to vote.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, if we do a little best ball here, on total votes cast. If you make me pick, I'm going to pick like 207,000.
207,000. Okay, not very
which is
good.
Not good. I actually have heard several predictions way below that, but I'm gonna try to
Really?
get confidence.
I'm gonna go 300,000 because just based on past. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm going to say 198,725.
That's right guess right there. I like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to set this one out, sadly. I think there's a lot of people, and I've talked about it on the air. You guys have heard me. I'm just not very excited about the candidates in the 2 top races in this one. And, it is what it is, but doesn't this happen, guys, when you have so many candidates running in a primary? It just kind of shuffles everything around, and it's been brutal and ugly out there with all the TV ads and the attacks from both sides, and it confuses people, doesn't it, Senator?
Yeah, I mean, I know people are disillusioned and frustrated. I just encourage folks to think you don't have to be in love with this person. This doesn't have to be your dream candidate. We still need to weigh in because we know the extremes will be weighing in. We know that the folks that you really don't agree with will be weighing in. So, go back to the heart of it. Go back and listen to the person in their own words. Whatever you need to do to get grounded in picking, you should be weighing in. Your voice matters. And, I encourage folks not to let that dishearten them because these 2 races will make a huge difference on who's hired, who leads, whether our agencies are running effectively, what policies are pushed forward, and the tone of the state. So this is my pep talk. Don't let Todd's approach weigh you down. You don't have to love them to vote for them.
Good point, Anthony.
Absolutely. You found something that we absolutely couldn't agree on more. The reality is if you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. And if you want to continue to get terrible candidates, just don't show up and vote because that's how terrible candidates win. And that's how terrible candidates come around in the future is that they think that, nobody's going to vote. I got a chance here. And again, to Senator Kurt's point, you let the fringes have, the far fringes are going to turn out. They always do. And the only way that they can get elected officials that agree with their policies and their ideals is to be a huge part of the percentage. And so if we have, the fringes that are 5 to 8 to 10% of both sides, and then we have 15% vote, well, guess what? They're a huge part of that. They're over 50% of that. And so the way that you fix that problem is showing up to vote. And again, to reiterate what the Senator said, go back to the heart of what this matters. I mean, people that don't use the right of democracy lose the right of democracy. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to think about what that looks like. And There are people who bled and died so you have that right. And there are people around the world who would give anything to have that opportunity. And so look past the failures and flaws of individuals, because here's the deal. You're never going to have a perfect candidate. And you don't, to Senator Kurt's point, you're not marrying this person. This is which direction do we want the state to go in for 4 years? Do we want someone who is going to uphold the Constitution and do what's right as best as possible, or do we want someone who's going to, make headlines and be in the news and make Oklahoma a laughingstock?
Yeah, good.
It's that simple.
Good point for both of you. I know, even despite my misgivings, I'm going to early vote as soon as I get off the air. Let's do this.
Tell me something good.
All right, let's end on a positive note. Senator Kurt, you're something good.
So I'm excited for the start of high school football, and it's because somehow OKCPS was able to play their football schedule independent, and so they're finally playing teams that they actually can have a shot against. So I am looking forward to going to some football games with my kids this year where we don't get blown out and we can have a good time.
I love it. Representative Moore.
That sounds like socialism in football. That's what I heard. But, no, I'm teasing. It's a joke. Let's see. Something good for me is that school's back. I'm really proud of what I've seen around my district, Western Oklahoma this week. I know we had a few more finally kick back in, and I just couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more proud to be from Western Oklahoma. These schools, these administrators, these superintendents, I've had such great conversations with just about every one of them in my district this week. And I'm praying over them, and I hope it's going to be a phenomenal school year. I couldn't be more proud of the work that they do and the way that they provide for our students. And my kids have hit the ground running, and we're full on. We've got Clinton dance practice at 6 a.m. already every morning, and so we're back in the grind. And so just couldn't be more excited. Todd, how about you? Tell me something good.
Well, my something good has got to be hearing the news this week that my colleague Anthony Moore has been selected to serve on the National Conference of State Legislators Executive Committee. I've been hoping for this for years, Representative Moore, and it finally happened. So congratulations, buddy.
I only got there because of your support, your endorsement, your letters and letters. I think you finally wore them down. Thank you.
Yes. No, hey, that's awesome. Well, hey, we appreciate both of you for being a part of the show, as always. And let's see what happens on Tuesday, and let's see who wins that free pizza from our wager. Okay?
Looking forward to next Friday.
All right. State Senator Julia Kurt, State Representative Anthony Moore in the crossfire.